I'm Pat Andriol, and I have as my guest this morning Jamie Cosgrove, who is the Republican candidate for First Selectman. How are you?
Great.
It's great to have you, and thanks so much for spending some time with us today.
Thank you.
I want to start by asking you a question. Why in the world do you want to be First Selectman?
Well, I believe I have the leadership qualities that are required to lead this town. I think I bring a certain set of skill set that is needed for the issues that we're going to be facing, that we are facing now and will be facing in the near future. And plus, I think I bring a style of governing that is people want and is needed in municipal level government. Is listening to the people, giving them the opportunity to speak and heard, and being able to clearly define where my position on the issues.
Good, thank you. As I think most people know, your family has lived in Branford for a very long time. You've lived here all of your life, went to school here, and your family through the years has been involved in politics. How do you think that will help you as First Selectman? Well,
I believe, growing up and hearing the discussions, political discussions around the table, and I think one thing really stuck with me is that the decisions that one make ought to really be for the betterment of the entire town. And but more importantly, I believe that the decisions that we make today should really take into consideration the future of the town, and we should always strive to make leave the town better for the future generations. And that's something that in the discussions that I've heard growing up and listening, and I've basically watched these meetings for my whole life. Sure. I always felt that it was something that was impressed upon me. Always think about the future. Be forward thinking. And be proactive rather than reactive. And think of the town as a whole.
So you think it's in your blood?
Yeah, I never had any ambitions to become some career politician, and but I guess once you start to get involved, and then you want to become, you kind of see it as your civic duty to serve your town and become more active.
Okay, thanks. Let's talk about some real issues now. You've made economic development a very, very important issue, and I think that's an issue that people in town think about. Also, your other two candidates have talked about economic development being very important for the town. Why do you think it's important, and why do you think that your plan is different than the other two candidates?
Well, it's important to have the economic development. It's larger than just one building or one business coming to town. Economic development is basically you're working on developing a successful economy within the town, and that includes money flowing and jobs and opportunity for people to live here. And so it's much bigger than just one single business or bringing a particular business to the town. And it's important because we need to have the money flow throughout the town, so obviously people can afford to stay and live here. They can, the town, as you well know, the town has a close relationship with many of the services that we do provide. Just not only the town provided services, but the services provided by our nonprofits in town. And to sustain that, we need to make sure there's money revenues coming into the town.
Yes. One of the things that you just mentioned, which I see so much, is that young people going away to school, going away to college, or perhaps just want to stay in town can't come back because the rents are so high. And it seems as if there were more opportunities for them to get jobs right here in the town of Branford, they would be able to do that.
Yeah, and then again, that's why it's important to have a plan of economic development, which is goes beyond just one business. We have to provide, tax relief. I mean, let's be, recognize what we're facing. We have a decreasing population in town. We have an aging population, more people on fixed income. That's going to put strains on our town and the services we can provide. I think the difference between my plan or what I'm to my candidates is that, I believe I have realistic goals, a realistic plan it's largely funded by private development, allowing development to occur, and realizing the benefits of development in the town.
There's been a lot of talk about the big box stores, as they call them, and I know that you have talked about Costco perhaps coming to exit 56. One of your other opponents talks about 53. Tell me the difference between 56 and 53.
Well, 56 is ready to be developed. The state has invested millions of dollars improving the infrastructure in that area, and they continue to do so. 53, although the bridge is coming to completion, there's still a number of issues there that would have to be addressed as far as with traffic and just the number of landowners, and you have state involvement and town involvement. So that development in that area, it would be years away. Mm-hmm. It's years away. 56 is ready to be developed. Costco has expressed an interest in the past that they would like to come to Branford in that area. So rather than putting up roadblocks to keep them out, I would welcome them here. I see the benefit of it. Costco is a store that would provide hundreds of thousands of dollars in tax revenues. They would provide good paying jobs. And one thing I was really impressed to hear, Costco they offer health benefits to part-time employees, which we know is a huge issue right now.
That is huge.
These pieces of property that we were talking about, will be developed one day. And I think if we have an opportunity to have a company come in that such standards as Costco, and they want to come here, we should welcome them and we should make it happen and realize the benefit that it will have on our town.
Okay. Why are you the better candidate that can take care of this in a better way and to lead that process?
Well, I think I recognize the need, and first of all, and I understand what it takes to see one of these projects from start to finish. I mean, my professional involvement. So I think I'm the better of the best of the candidates, because I could see it from start to finish, and I understand what is needed and what needs to take place.
Okay. Getting back to 53, that couldn't possibly come to be before they have some kind of a entrance to go back onto 95 that's close to that property, right?
I believe it would cause a traffic nightmare if they didn't. There's a series of lights that need to be addressed. That intersection needs to be redone. Anybody coming down 95 knows the only way you're going to get over that area is to go get off 54 and then come down Cedar Street or go back to East Haven and come back down. Yeah. So there definitely needs to be some major interchange work, and we know how long that takes. I mean, look how long it took to get the bridge done.
Right, it takes a very long time.
It takes a lot of coordination, a lot of money.
Yeah, and it also interrupts a lot of businesses along the way while they're in the process of doing that. It interested me when you said that Costco has good benefits for even their part-time workers. That's something that's very important.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you put a store such as that, do you think you'd be able to bring in some smaller businesses too, because they would benefit from the traffic coming in?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe so. And I know. The fear is that it's not in Costco's interest to hurt a small business anyway. In fact, their business model, in fact, is to they service the small businesses. 40% of the revenue is generated by providing goods to small businesses. So I think it will end up in helping the small businesses in town.
So you think that perhaps the coming in to a Costco, people might say, well, I might go and get some lunch now downtown. We have wonderful restaurants, as you know, in town. Or we might go down to a little boutique.
You know, it may. And getting back to the economic development plan, and I was saying it was more than just one store.
Sure.
Yeah, we do need, there's really three parts of it when you're talking about businesses and growing the tax base. You need to first change what's happening in town hall. You need to make the permitting and inspection process, you need to streamline that. You need to stop putting up these roadblocks. For instance, when Costco first looked at some of the property in Branford, you look at the benefits and then work with them to overcome any obstacles that might be they may be facing. The other thing, we need to retain the current businesses that are here. What can we do? For instance, the center district is, we have a beautiful green.
Yes, we do.
Beautiful area, which I would love to, make sure that stays intact for future generations, because it is a special place along the shoreline. And there's things we can do to help those businesses, I feel. There's a parking problem perception. I feel we do have some municipal parking. I think we should make that more accessible and actually part of the landscape rather than hidden. Signage may help. I think, first thing I would do is meet with the center district merchants and get some feedback on them, what they would like to see. We need to generate foot traffic down in there, and what would bring that foot traffic through the center. And then the third thing is to what do we need to do to bring in new businesses in Branford. And that's where the Costco falls in. So.
Okay, all right. So that sounds like a good plan, and it sounds like many people in Branford would love to see more development, because more development means that there's more places to go and to shop, and it also means that the tax base is going to either stay stable or not rise so high as it might.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, with the decreasing population and aging population, more people on fixed income, it's a real concern of mine is the tax burden continually shifted on to the homeowners, and as well as the small businesses. They feel the tax burden as much as anyone else. So
sure. Yeah.
We need to provide some real relief.
Yeah. Well, I recently retired, and when you're retired, you start to really look at where you're spending your money, because you do have a fixed income, and so you have to make sure. And I'm sure that there are many people in town who are living just on Social Security, and that's not a very big amount of money at all. Anything else that you want to say about economic development, Jamie? I think we covered it.
Yeah, I think we covered it. I just how important it is, and it's broader than just bringing in one store.
Yes.
That's what I would really like people to understand.
Yeah, and I think that's important to understand, because it's not about just Costco. It's about developing the area in our town so that it can bring a better tax base. You have proposed a public building commission, and you've done that for quite a while. This hasn't just come up since you've been a candidate. Talk to me a little bit about that, and how will that help the town with the infrastructure?
Well, we all recognize we have needs that need to be met. We need a new public works facility. We need a new senior center, and we need Walsh Intermediate School needs to be addressed.
Absolutely.
Whether it's a new school or renovation, it needs to be addressed. And what's been happening for far too long is that when we go to meet one of these needs by building a new facility, we form a building committee designated just for that project. What happens is then that committee ends up just basically lobbying for that one project, and the other needs in town are not part of the discussion. That basically that project is happening within a vacuum. And far too often it becomes political, and then either what happens is we end up spending an exorbitant amount of money fulfilling that need, crossing the line of fulfilling a need to start to fulfill some wants of a consultant or architect, or the project just comes to a halt and it doesn't move forward, but the need is still there. So I feel that the Standing Building Commission would eliminate that. They would look at these projects, all of them that we're going forward with, the need of them, and make sure they'll be looking after the interest of the taxpayers as well as whoever the building is for, whether it's the seniors, the students, or the Public Works Department.
Okay, and so there really are three major projects that people talk about all the time, and that's Public Works, it's Walsh Intermediate School, and the Senior Center. And how do you prioritize those?
Well, we should put together some feasibility studies, and they're all, to those individuals who are going to use
Absolutely.
They're all priorities.
Of course they are.
And you have to go through which ones can you accomplish quickly, which ones are going to take some more planning, but if you move forward with the ones that you can do rather quickly, rather than kicking it down the road. So now you're dealing with the crisis situation where you're doing a number of projects all at once, and then it's a hit to the taxpayer all at once.
Sure, and it sounds like it's a nightmare too to think doing those all at the same time. Yeah. I know that Walsh Intermediate School certainly is something that people have talked about for years and years and years. The noise in the building and how hard it may be for some kids to learn. And I saw that you came out and said that that was one of your priorities. And having twin grandsons in the 5th grade over there, it's a priority of mine too, because you certainly want to have your children have the best place in order to be able to learn very well. So the Public Building Commission, would they work in the way to prioritize these projects? Would they bring in what is the best one to go forward with?
Yeah, they would definitely be leading that discussion as far as, because they'll have the full scope of what is needed to complete these projects. We'll have a budget set. We'll have a construction schedule set. They'll be able to go back to the town, the Selectman, the Board of Finance, with the information needed to decide, which one we should be moving forward with.
All right. Can you describe to me what you envision as the commission?
I envision it would be a 9-member commission, bipartisan, that would be part of the Standing Building Commission. They would vote on all the projects going forward. As we begin to take on a particular project, we'd add 2 temporary members to the commission to basically represent that building or that specific building. So, for instance, if you're going to take on a senior center, you have your 9-member commission, you would add 2 temporary members who would represent the needs of the seniors and make sure that they're being met and it'd be their voice. And they would just have voting rights on that particular project.
In essence, they'd be lobbyists for their project.
But there are 2 out of, and then you have the 9 standing members.
Sure.
But I just want to get back to the intermediate school, because that too is part of economic development. That has been, it's something that's been needed to be addressed for years. I mean, we have studies done for going back easily 15 years, if not longer, saying that the school there needs to be some either renovations or even a new school. But there's a reputation, I would say, that the town builds on its schools and the facilities, and I think that might be one of the causes why people are now moving to other towns, choosing not to keep their kids in the Branford school system and move to towns and send their kids to other towns. So that's what we want to, how do we get people to move into Branford and
Right.
stay in Branford?
Right.
And the schools is a huge issue.
Absolutely. People want to live in a town where their children can go to a school which is a good facility and has good marks
Yeah.
within the state. And I think that you need a place that is conducive to learning. And I think for some kids that Walsh may not be conducive to learning.
Yes,
And,
I agree with that.
and
been,
that's very important. The next thing I wanted to talk to you a little bit is I think you and many people know that I recently retired from the Branford Counseling Center after 44 years. And it's a mental health agency, but it also is the social services provider for people in town. So it's very near and dear to my heart, and I love to talk about that. What are your thoughts about the future of the services?
well, I believe the town has made a commitment to continue to provide the services in town, and not only the town services we provide, but as you know, we have a close relationship with many of the nonprofits
Absolutely.
that provide services in town, and that is one of the motivations behind you. We need to grow the tax base and have revenues to coming in so we can sustain that. I mean, that's what set Branford apart. We had built a reputation of being able to maintain relatively low taxes while providing a number of services. Yes. And so I think we should focus on keeping that reputation and make sure that the services aren't in jeopardy because of the tax, growing tax burden.
I agree. Yeah, the town has a budget of $45,500 for what we call the homeless account. And what I've done while I've been at the counseling center was to raise funds from the private sector and from grants. And I hope that we'll continue to be able to do that, because this past year, $131,000 was spent on social services, and that came from grants and it came from those private donations. But grants are drying up now too, so I think that we need to be really cognizant of the fact that we need money in the budget to be able to take care of these services. The people who are unemployed, the underemployed, and the working poor are people who come and ask to get some of these services from the counseling center and from the senior center, who runs a state energy assistance program. You mentioned the nonprofits, and something else very dear to my heart is the Volunteer Services Center. And those are wonderful services, and they're in a town building. Hopefully they will continue to always be in that building. What do you think? What can we do to encourage people in Branford to recognize that there are some poor people in Branford, and those who have a little bit more be able to donate to the homeless account?
Yeah, listen, this is something that I wholeheartedly support, is the town supporting these services that you just talked about. And we took on the responsibility, and I feel we do have a moral responsibility to make sure that the needs are being met. And you did mention that the grant money is drying up.
Yes. So
two things: we need to reach out to people and continue to reach out and increase, I guess, the people need to recognize that this is a problem in Branford, and it's a growing problem. Okay. And so the town needs to become even more proactive, not only in supporting these services that we have, but I believe proactive in getting the message out there. Good. that people need, we need to help each other.
Good. Yes, we do. Our time is over. I want to thank BCTV and Jamie Cosgrove for coming here today and spending this time with us. And please remember, vote on November 5th. Thanks. Every vote really does count.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.